distinguished panel members, and fellow researchers. I am Arthur Bigumarak from Northern Iloilo State University, Estancia, Iloilo, Philippines. College of Management Faculty. It's a pleasure to be here today to present our study titled Development of Value-Added Marine Products from Underutilized Fish Species in the Visayan Sea, Philippines, Enhancing Livelihoods and Promoting Sustainable Fisheries. As the renowned scientist Albert Einstein once said, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. This perfectly captures the essence of our research, transforming underutilized fish species, which are often seen as a challenge, into valuable products that create economic opportunities and promote sustainability. Our study focuses on developing innovative value-added products from these overlooked marine resources to enhance the income and resilience of coastal communities in the Visayan Sea, while supporting sustainable fisheries management. I will share the background methods and key findings of our work. Let me start now, or let me begin with the context of the study. The Visayan Sea is one of the Philippines' most productive fishing grounds, yet many small pelagic and bycatch species, such as milkfish, Indian oil sardine, and catfish, remain underutilized and are often sold at low prices, limiting the economic benefits for local fishing communities. Despite the ecological and nutritional value of these species, prevailing market practices and limited processing options have constrain their potential to improve livelihoods and support sustainable fisheries. Existing research and development efforts have focused primarily on high-value or export-oriented species, leaving a gap in strategies that address the economic and social needs of communities reliant on underutilized fish resources. This study addresses the research gap by developing value-added products from these species, integrating nutritional analysis, product innovations, and market testing to ensure solutions are both practical and community-driven. The conceptual framework for this study highlights a systematic approach to transforming underutilized fish species into value-added products that benefit local communities. Inputs include the selection of species such as milkfish, Indian oil sardines, and catfish alongside active participation from community stakeholders, ensuring the process is relevant and sustainable. Processes involve several key steps: identifying and analyzing nutritional value of these species, developing products tailored to local taste, conducting sensory evaluation, and performing market surveys to gauge consumer acceptance. Economic and livelihood assessments are also conducted to measure the impact on community. The objectives of the study are: identify key underutilized fish species suitable for processing, analyze nutritional content and sustainability for product development, develop and optimize value-added products, assess consumer acceptance and market potential, evaluate economic and livelihood impacts on fishing communities. This study employed a rigorous mixed method research design integrating both quantitative and qualitative approaches to comprehensively address the multifaceted objectives. Quantitative data were collected through structured surveys administered to a diverse group of stakeholders, including fishermen, fish processors, market vendors, and consumers in Estancia, Iloilo. This approach facilitated systematic demographic profiling, economic assessment, and market demand quantification. Complementary, qualitative focus group discussion enabled in-depth exploration of community perceptions, preferences, and challenges related to value-added fishery products, providing rich, contextual insights that numbers alone could not capture. Target underutilized fish species were identified through systematic fish landing surveys. The demographic profile of the respondents in this study reflects the characteristic typical of fishing communities in coastal Philippine areas. The majority of participants were male, 69%, consistent that traditional gender roles where men dominate fishing activities, while women tend to engage more in processing and marketing. The age distribution is skewed towards a relatively young and working age population, with 50% of respondents aged 34 years or younger. This suggests a community with strong potential for adoption of new technologies and processing methods, as younger individuals are generally more open to innovation and change. Educational attainment among respondents shows that 70% completed secondary education or higher, which is favorable for technical training and capacity building in value-added product processing. Higher education levels correlate with greater receptivity to food safety standards and market-oriented skills. Occupationally, 40% of respondents identified as fishermen, reinforcing the primary reliance on fishing for livelihoods, followed by fish processors and producers, representing 20% and 15% respectively. This mix demonstrates the integral role across the fishery value chain within the community and underscores the importance of inclusive development strategies that engage various stakeholders. Household size data reveals that half of the respondents come from medium-sized families, which is typical in Filipino coastal regions. Significantly, 35% of respondents live below a poverty line, indicating economic vulnerability that could potentially be alleviated through value-added products development that generates additional income streams and supports food security. The survey of fish landings in the Visayan Sea revealed several underutilized species with potential for value-added processing, including milkfish, Indian oil sardine, and catfish. Proximate composition analysis showed that these species are rich in protein, with milkfish having the highest protein content, average 24.17%, followed by Indian oil sardines with 20.2% and catfish with 16%. The protein content in fish allows for a variety of processing methods and the product formulations. High protein fish species can be transformed into a diverse value-added products. The results indicate strong consumer acceptance across processed fish products from different species. Milkfish processed into spring rolls was rated as highly acceptable, consistent with findings that such products exhibit favorable texture and flavor, contributing to high consumer preference. Indian oil sardine prepared as canned gourmet toyo received high ratings for both taste and convenience, reflecting positive consumer feedback on the product's balanced flavor and usability as a quick meal option. Similarly, catfish processed into a siomai was also found to be highly acceptable, with the consumers appreciating the flavor blend and texture, despite minor suggestions for improving softness and wrapper thickness. These findings collectively demonstrate that processed fish products from milkfish, Indian oil sardines, and catfish have favorable sensory qualities and strong market potential, underscoring their availability as value-added seafood items in consumer markets. The table demonstrates that the fish processing industry has notably positive socioeconomic impact, as reflected by the mean scores for various impact categories. Income increase received a mean score of 4.2, indicating a strong positive impact, which aligns with the studies showing how fish processing boosts local incomes by creating revenue streams and enhancing economic stability among workers. Job security also scored positively at 4.0, showing the industry role in providing stable employment opportunities despite fluctuation in the broader seafood sector. Livelihood diversification received a moderate positive impact score of 3.8, highlighting that fish processing supports alternative income sources and helps communities reduce their dependency on a single livelihood, thereby improving economic resilience. Overall, these findings underscore the critical socioeconomic benefits that fish processing industries contribute to local economies by increasing income, securing jobs, and supporting livelihood diversification in coastal and fishing communities. The sensory evaluation of milkfish, Indian oil sardine, and catfish revealed favorable attributes across appearance, taste, aroma, and texture. Milkfish scored highest in appearance and texture with 4.5 each, noted for its appealing color, shape, and a firm yet tender mouthfeel. Its taste, 4.4, was distinct and pleasant, complemented by a fresh, mild aroma rated 4.3. Indian oil sardine had a slightly lower appearance score of 4.3, but excelled in taste with 4.6, offering a mild, slightly sweet, and well-balanced flavor, along with a mild aroma with 4.4 and a firm, flaky texture, 4.4, making it easy to chew. Catfish, while scoring somewhat lower overall, still achieved good ratings with appearance at 4.2, recognized for its uniform size despite a slightly dull, duller color. Its taste 4.3, aroma 4.2, and texture 4.3 were rated as mild, neutral, and tender moist, respectively, reflecting consumer preference for clean, pleasant sensory qualities. These results align with previous studies highlighting fish species' unique sensory profiles influenced by biochemical and processing factors, which contribute significantly to consumer acceptability and product marketability. The table shows that the refrigerated storage shelf life of different fish species indicate variability primarily influenced by species, characteristics, and handling. Milkfish has a refrigerated shelf life of 3 to 4 months, with freshness maintained effectively under proper handling conditions. This aligns with studies indicating that milkfish stored at around 4 degrees Celsius can maintain microbial stability and freshness for several months before quality deterioration begins, with advanced methods like high pressure processing capable of extending this period. Indian oil sardine, with its oily flesh, has a slightly longer shelf life of 3 to 5 months when refrigerated, as the natural oil content can help preserve texture and flavor longer compared to lean fish species. Catfish is more perishable with a shelf life of 2 to 4 months under refrigeration, requiring careful handling to prevent rapid spoilage due to its higher moisture and protein content, which are susceptible to microbial growth. Overall, the differences in shelf life emphasize the need for species-specific storage protocols to optimize freshness, duration, and reduce post-harvest losses in fish processing and retail operations. Perceived quantity for the fish species shows variation consistent with their physical size and typical serving portions. Milkfish have a perceived quantity of 150 grams, interpreted as a moderate serving size, which aligns with nutritional guidelines, suggesting typical fish serving range from 85 to 150 grams, to provide substantial protein and energy. Indian oil sardine serving size was slightly smaller at 120 grams, reflecting the smaller size of individual fish compared to milkfish, yet still adequate for nutritional needs given sardines' high nutrient density. Catfish perceived quantity was 130 grams, also considered a moderate serving size, balancing portion size and consumer expectation for a satisfying meal. These serving sizes correspond well to recommend portions that ensure adequate intake of calories, protein, and micronutrients across different fish types, supporting their role as nutritious, accessible protein sources in diets. The consumption frequency data revealed distinct patterns among respondents for milkfish, Indian oil sardine, and catfish. Milkfish is consumed weekly by 40% respondents, monthly by 30%, and daily by 10%, reflecting its status as a staple yet not an everyday item in many diets. Consistent with its production and distribution cycles reported in the Philippines and Southeast Asia, where it constitutes about 10% of per capita fish consumption. Indian oil sardine shows slightly higher daily consumption at 15%, with a weekly rate of 45%, indicating its popularity as a convenient, affordable, and nutritious option for frequent intake. Catfish consumption frequently is somewhat lower, with 8% daily, 35% weekly, and 32% monthly consumers, which may relate to its relative perishability and distinct culinary uses. Overall, these consumption patterns align well with regional market studies showing milkfish as a culturally significant but less frequently consumed fish daily, while sardines enjoy higher routine consumption due to ease of preparation and shelf life. This evaluation reflects typical consumers' sensory ratings, shelf life characteristics under proper storage, and consumption patterns that can be guide product development and marketing strategies for milkfish, Indian oil sardines, and catfish value-added products. Conclusion, limitation, and further research. This mixed method study successfully identified viable underutilized species in the Visayan Sea with strong potential for value-added processing. Milkfish, Indian oil sardine, and catfish were effectively transformed into popular products with excellent consumer acceptance. The development of these products contributed considerably to income generation, job opportunity, and livelihood diversification among fishery communities in Estancia. The study supports sustainable fishery industry practices through economic empowerment and market-driven innovation. Expected outcomes of the study: identification of underutilized fish species with high protein content, development of value-added products tailored to local tastes, strong consumer acceptance and market potential, positive economic impact, increased income, job security, and livelihood diversification, recommendation for scaling up capacity building, and sustainable fisheries management. These are the sets of references. In closing, this study demonstrates the significant potential of value-added processing to transform underutilized fish species into valuable products that bolster the livelihoods of coastal communities in the Visayan Sea. By creating new economic opportunities while promoting sustainable fisheries, we contribute not only to poverty alleviation but also to the long-term health of our marine ecosystems. As Wangari Maathai wisely said, we need to promote development that does not destroy our environment. Our research embodies this vision by advancing sustainable practices that support both people and the planet. That's all, and God bless.